What is a unique ID and why does it matter? So a unique ID is a unique identifier, and it is created each time a new task is added to your schedule. Now, sometimes at the beginning, it'll correspond with your ID number, which is the row number. But then if you move it to a different spot, that ID will change, but not the unique ID. So why does it matter and why should you pay attention to the unique ID? Is because if you delete a task, that unique ID dies. And so if you were to add another task back with the same name, same date, it's going to have a different unique ID, even though everything is the same, because you only get to use it once. That unique ID retires. So why is it important to care about the unique ID? Is because when you're running reports, Microsoft is going to be looking at that unique ID, because if you move the task, the ID changes. So you can't use the ID to say, yeah, row 12, because what if you moved it? It's not row 12 anymore, but that unique ID stays the same. So if you want to compare like what you used to say versus what the date was then versus now, you're going to use that unique ID. A lot of third-party tools also use this unique ID. So that's why you do not want to delete a task and then add it back and it be the same. So you have two options. If you just want to move the task, drag and drop it to the area that you need to. Don't delete it and then add it back to that new area. Drag and drop, because the task is the same, you want to keep that unique ID. Now, if that task may no longer be relevant and not being executed, that's okay, you can delete it. However, if there is any inkling that your task lead says you're not doing it now, but there is a possibility that they could add it back and do it, it's just not part of the plan now, make it inactive. So there's a little button at the top where you can just mark something and say it's inactive. That takes it out of the path, so its successor won't be relied on it anymore. I always teach that unique IDs are very important and to pay attention to them. When I use Milestones Professional, I tag every symbol using unique IDs. So if I delete it or somebody else does, so if I'm linked to somebody else's schedule and they delete that task in their schedule, then my third-party tool of Milestones Professional will not move because it can't find the task anymore because that unique ID is gone. Although if that task is still there, it just has a different unique ID. That's the different situation. You don't delete tasks unless you really, really have to. Question why they're being deleted if somebody tells you they want to be deleted, because you want to understand, is it just not being done right now? Is it later? Could it come back? Usually it's just not part of the plan and somebody's just thinking out and they're changing the plan, and that's okay. Just make that section or that task inactive while they're figuring things out, and then it'll come back. I do it all the time because I know that it was part of the plan to begin with, and you can't just not do it anymore. There's got to be a reason. So just question things, but if while they're working things out and they need to understand what it is, just make a task inactive. That way you can keep the unique ID. Hope this helps you for today. Now go out there and flowcast those projects.